How's it going, everybody? So I just want to talk very briefly, hopefully briefly, about a topic that I've been watching unfold, especially over this past year. Um, and that topic is what's been the polarization of many people who are ANCAPs, especially leading up to the election this 2016. And I'm not surprised at this polarization. I think that it's been going back and forth for a while. At first, many of the people who were ANCAPs or voluntarists, especially in, maybe 15, 20 years prior from now, they were probably considered more of the right or conservative orientation. I think of those people as probably early Ron Paul supporters, people who have been, more politically affiliated, but maybe old school for a long time. And I think that what happened is that as liberty became popularized, the new wave of people who came in, especially post Ron Paul, and that fervor from 2008 to 2012 were mostly from the leftist bent. There was a especially large group of people who were attracted to liberty, I think, due to the fallout of what would be many disillusioned leftist or progressive voters, especially if you consider the transitions between Bush and Obama. I think there was a lot of traction from that, of people who had normally been considering themselves leftists and realized quickly that Obama was continuing the same policies as before, even worse, and that was a big awakening. So I thought that there was a large wave of people from the leftist side who were coming into the liberty fold. And I think that created a large reactionary movement. After a while, it swelled to such a point that those who were considering themselves either more conservative, paleoconservative, rightist, I think they started to get concerned. I think they started to say, whoa, okay, all these people who are in the left libertarian movement are trying to do plus ones. They're trying to add on to the philosophy, moving away from the base philosophy and just saying, hey, these are the maxims of non-aggression. And they were trying to make it seem like, yeah, but you also have to do these things. And if you're not an advocate for these types of, social justice issues, then you're not a real libertarian. I think there was a huge reaction to that. So it's like the pendulum went one way post Ron Paul and the mix of like the Obama fallout from those who were leftists, and it swung back the other way in reaction to that. And I think this also has been fueled with this election year because with everybody getting really just Mad Hattery with the candidates. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I hope people would see at this point. The election's rigged, through and through. It's rigged on multiple levels, both at the geopolitical and as well within the party lines, especially considering how delegates are run. So people are starting to be like, oh well, what will be like the lesser of two evils mentality again, instead of just rejecting the obvious, which is it's all evil. And I think that the people who have been really on the bandwagon of thinking like, oh, this is it, like if we don't pick, and this is from, of course, libertarian, ANCAP field, if we don't pick like the right certain president, like things are going to go really bad. It's just like, it's ridiculous. It's every single one of them is continuing the exact same wave of problems. There can be good arguments as to, socioeconomics, sociodemographics, and things that might happen depending on who is in office as far as people's reactions are concerned. In terms of people waking up, in terms of people's, transition from saying, whoa, okay, they're supporting what's going on to being like, whoa, this is all messed up. I think there certainly can be said that a certain type of administration would lead to possibly more people becoming rebellious or angry at the government versus another. I think there will be different flavors. But the thing is, it doesn't matter, really. They're all going to be leading to the exact same outcome. And so I think people have been caught up in the politics of things and have, in the process, let go of the foundational principles. And that's really what needs to happen, is there needs to be a reconciliation where it doesn't, it doesn't matter which beliefs leaning side you're coming from, whether it's rightist to the extremity of people who are doing crazy things with national fascism, or white power stuff, like crazy stuff, or trying to go onto a huge social justice progressive bent. I mean, and saying like, oh, if you don't support all these progressive issues, then you're not real libertarian. Again, all these things are deviations from the core, and I think that this election year is starting to help really push out those who are irrational and extremists. I think they're just starting to come to light, and I think that the levels of extremities that are being pushed out by verbally by people who are just getting too caught up in politics, I think they're going to end up alienating others, and I think there will end up being like a falling out by those people, but it'll be a good political purge. It'll be a good political purge because it's going to lead to a realization, I think, across the board, that it's time to stop doing the whole +1 thing with liberty. It doesn't matter which direction you're going in. Get back to the roots. Get back to the principles. Stop trying to throw extra stuff on to try to appease or to appeal to other people. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're going to end up sacrificing principles. You're going to end up getting caught in political whirlwinds. And so it's very important to really just stick with the core foundations of philosophy: maximizing consent, minimizing the initiation of violence, respecting the body, respecting private property, respecting those core maxims. Let everything else go aside. Don't try to tie in other stuff. Stop trying to add in all these extra, +1. You need this to be a true, liberty follower. It's just not true. And it really just is distracting. And it's not going to matter. In the end, those people who keep on harping or trying to push on those things, I think, are going to end up alienating themselves or other people. And I think that it's just really a matter of time before those kinds of people who are so caught up in those +1s just get exhausted and they burn out. I think it's akin to many types of major religious movements, where you have in the beginning, especially when something becomes popularized, which it is, liberty's rising at an extreme rate. You have those people who normally consider themselves maybe outcasts or weird, didn't fit in, and they come into the fold, just like many. If you want to make a comparison to evangelical Christianity or Protestantism on a somewhat broader base, you have a lot of people who come in and they're excited about it, and then all of a sudden they get crazy, and then they fall off the path of the principles because they never had the foundations down and intellectually fleshed out. They didn't have the ethics down. They didn't have, and you don't need the economics part necessarily if you have the ethics at a foundation. The economics are an outspring of that. But they didn't have the other things down, or didn't know how to research those things to know how to have a firm answer and a firm foundation for those other questions. Again, you don't have to be an economics expert to have the ethical underpinnings down about how you want to treat people in a way that is universally consistent and, again, maximize consent, minimize the initiation of violence. The economics part of that comes into line, with Austrian school, but it's really ethics first as far as that minimum interaction. And, it's sad because I think that there are a lot of people out there who are doing things that are ultimately going to hurt the spread of liberty, but I think that fortunately, because of the rationality of it and because it's just tied up in the whole political fervor thing, it's not. They are eventually just going to fall off and drift off and disappear, and that's the end of it. And those who, I think, through all these tests of times, different political winds, stay true to the core principles, stay focused on what it truly means to want to be a voluntarist, and remember those and realize those and focus on those. I think those people are going to be principled and outlast everything else. Those people who stay consistent, and when I say people, I'm saying people who are prominent in their, whatever you want to say, their expression of notoriety or influence or whatever. It could be just that they're a blogger, could be that they're a book author, could be they're a professor, could be that they're just a philanthropist, could be that they're an entrepreneur, could be whatever, just whatever their speaking platform is. Whoever sticks to the principles and doesn't get sidetracked and try to add on things or try to make it seem like there's some purist issue. I think those who stick to the core principles will outlast those who don't and who get sidetracked on this other stuff. Because all that stuff, it's fleeting. At the end of the day, if you don't have the core principles down, you've missed the point of what it means to be a voluntarist, to be a truly liberty-loving libertarian. So I hope that this kind of helps explain some things that are going on. I think there's a lot of tumult out there, especially on social media stuff. But I think that those who pay close attention and don't get sidetracked with the silly stuff and the add-ons and all the extremist kind of people who want to add on different things instead of just saying, whoa, here's the core of liberty and focusing on that. I think those people who are going to be the most successful long term. All right, talk to y'all later.